Hello. Today we're going to be talking about what makes luxury homes different. I'm Kyle Wong, and this is Real Estate Explained. You might have guessed at this point, but I'm going to be explaining some real estate topics. Today we're going to be talking about, obviously, what makes luxury homes different from traditional homes. So I'm Kyle Wong with the Moxie Real Estate team based out of Denver, Colorado here. And if you have any questions about the topics I'm about to go through today, feel free to reach out. Connect with me in the link below. So, luxury real estate. I know it's a term that everybody throws around, but what exactly does that mean? Now, I know there are a lot of different definitions, and even myself, I say a house is a house and a client's a client. I think I do, from one point of view, think saying a luxury house is kind of silly, or a luxury client. But if you're using it as a technical term to describe a certain price point, then sure, because you have your below average homes, fixer-uppers, investor specials, you have your average homes, and then, obviously that would be priced around whatever the market average is. And then above that, you have your high-end homes. So typical homes in typical areas with maybe nicer finishes or slightly larger. And then that's when you step up from there and get into luxury. So that's generally, I want to say it's about double the price of whatever your average market value is, the average value of the market. And then you get into ultra luxury, which is about 10 times the price, which is hard to fathom, but it's out there. So today talking about luxury specifically, and I know some of the topics are going to kind of bleed over, but what makes a luxury home? So location is a big one. So anything by a beach, a destination resort, so Breckenridge, Aspen Vale up in the mountains maybe, or in the heart of a city, or even out in the rolling hills. I know there are a lot of desirable areas where people just kind of want to get out there. So for example, in Montana, Big Sky might be a good example, or here in Colorado, we have luxury homes out in Sedalia or Franktown where people just want to get away. They're so close enough to the city, but they just want their space. So that's one big thing. Next up is design. So like I said, you can have higher end homes with nicer finishes, and they may be a bit bigger, but luxury homes are truly built differently. When it comes to having the actual design process, usually done by an architect who is doing something that's not ordinary or typical. I've seen a lot of very high-end homes that do complete, solid, concrete structures where even the footprint is different, right? So like crazy basements, or like just a weird layout that wouldn't be something that you'd see in your average neighborhood. Or you have a respected architect that designs your home. I know Frank Lloyd Wright is very famous for his mid-century modern stuff, and he's got projects all over the world pretty much now. So anything like that. But again, not all luxury homes need to be based off square footage. So just because it's a big house doesn't necessarily make it a luxury home. And a good example of that would be a lot of the apartments or condos in New York City or London, or even here, the Four Seasons residences in downtown Denver. It doesn't have to be bigger. It's just, again, part of that location. So next up would be your buyers. So your buyers in luxury homes are very different. And let me tell you why. When you're not constrained by finances, you can look for something that fits your lifestyle rather than something that is chosen by your budget. So your location, the amenities, all of the things that go along with the home. You're not worried about price point or certain neighborhoods due to other limiting factors. And again, it's really fitting their personality and not so much their needs, right? Because if you got a family of four, you can go buy any 4-bedroom house anywhere, but I want 4 bedrooms plus a pool plus a tennis court, and I want to be right in downtown LA, for example. So it's a little bit different there. And even if something doesn't necessarily fit their needs, but they find the great location, you can always renovate later. So That's another thing I've seen happen quite a bit is immediately after a close. I had one in downtown Colorado Springs not too long ago where they closed on the property, an amazing, beautiful condo with a historic building, brick facade with this big old metal windows. It was beautiful. It used to be a factory. And then they completely gutted it. I mean, it was already nice how it was. It kind of reminded me of like a Soho loft, but gutted it and then completely redid it for their own needs and style, and it's amazing. So love seeing stuff like that. Next up, exclusivity. Usually once you cross the line into ultra luxury, like I had mentioned earlier, where something is, I don't know, for example, if you're on a street where you're the only one on the street who has this view, or you are the only one with this particular design feature, maybe there's historic value or importance in your home, where when it's exclusive, you're maybe in a gated neighborhood where you can only build so many homes, right? There's a neighborhood in Highlands Ranch called Backcountry where they only have so many lots where you can do custom and semi-custom homes. Once they're built out, they're built out. Or if you're in a luxury condo complex, you got the building. You're not adding on top of it anytime soon. So exclusivity will absolutely raise the price into the luxury and ultra luxury price point. And there's always going to be a premium that's paid for things that are limited. Same with cars. Excuse me. Yeah, I touched on this a little bit earlier, historical significance. So here in Denver, we have quite a few homes that are well over 100 years old. And in fact, I was working on a listing by Washington Park, Wash Park. It's 2 blocks down the road, built in 1912. It's an old bungalow style, but over the years, the owners had popped the top, dug out the basement, added a bunch of square footage, and it's a pretty small lot. It's just around 6,000 square feet. But they maximized the space really well, threw a pool in there and did amazing landscaping. But things like that do have historical significance because nothing is going to be built like that ever again due to regulations and standards and just modern building practices. You just can't. So things like that are really cool to see done, as opposed to when they're bulldozed and they do a completely new build, and often the style is contemporary, which is cool, but again, you just don't see stuff like that anymore. So after that is the latest and greatest tech, right? When money is no object, you can get whatever latest and greatest stuff that you want when it comes to security. Or I've seen there was a house in LA, I think they spent over $100K on a huge TV, not a projector, a TV that displays over the city. So you have your city views because you're in the hills, and it pops up in front of the pool, infinity pool, of course. And so that's not something you could have gotten 20, 30 years ago. So that's the latest and greatest, and who knows what it's going to be in another 20 or 30 years. But along with that is privacy and security. So usually with great wealth, it comes usually for a good reason, hopefully. But security is important to you. You don't want anybody just driving through your neighborhood, coming up to your door, solicitations. We've all seen the nightmares, the horror stories. But sometimes those wealthy people also are in the public eye. And so security, privacy is another big part of that. So gated neighborhoods, screening, guards, whatever that is, you want to make sure that you have that, obviously, so that people can't just constantly come up to you, because it happens. So yeah, those were just a few of the things. If you have anything else, let me know. But I've seen my fair share of luxury homes, and it's always very interesting what the differentiating factor is, because again, I've seen some nice homes, higher end homes, people that have renovated, updated, remodeled, and done really nice stuff in it. But there's just, when you walk into a true luxury home, you know the difference. And the thing is, if you walk into a luxury home that was brand new 30 years ago, that's going to look very different than what a brand new luxury home looks like. So I've seen a lot in Breckenridge and in Aspen where they're beautiful. They're absolutely gorgeous, but they're of a very particular style, usually due to the location. Whereas, like I mentioned earlier, the Four Seasons residences in Denver, you're not changing the facade, you're not changing anything on the outside, but the way they've styled the interior and the location, it's absolutely ideal for a very different type of person. So it all depends on what you want, but I hope that brings clarification to what the definition of luxury is. So Again, I'm Kyle Wong with the Moxie Real Estate team here out of Colorado. And if you have any questions about the topics today, or if you have any ideas for future topics, reach out. Connect with me using the link below. Look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.